My name is Conrad Shawcross. I'm an artist, a sculptor, working in areas to do with philosophy, geometry, metaphysics. The work is very involved with trying to reconnect the world of both science and art. When the Berlin Wall fell, I was 12 years old and I was living in London. My father is a journalist and a writer, very much concerned with human rights and politics. He was very excited at the time and wanted to travel to Berlin. While we didn't travel at that exact moment, 3 months later, my father took me to Berlin for the first time, and we visited the wall and the incredible change that was occurring all around us. As a child, I was going to always either be an artist or an architect, but I felt I didn't have the patience for architecture, and I was daunted by the 7 years of study. But actually, ironically, I ended up doing 6 years at art school in the end, with my BA, my foundation, and my MA. So it was really between the two of them. My work has also become increasingly architectural in the last few years, so I feel that I'm satisfying those desires as well now. My abstract practice tries to interrogate pre-existing assumptions of what is real, to undermine our perceptions or our assumptions about the world around us. Whether that is to do with our perception of time or space, the work interrogates what we believe to be real and what we assume to be real. The studio practice involves about 10 of us in the studio, and while on one side it is dealing with very ancient phenomena and geometric properties, geometric phenomena such as the Platonic solids, we on the other hand use very cutting edge software and parametric modeling to try and interrogate our ideas. So I hope it's a sort of splice between very ancient and very contemporary techniques. So in that way, I believe that we are a very innovative studio, always keen to expand our knowledge base, our experience of tools, of software, of philosophy, and try and incorporate all of these things into the sculptural realizations that we produce here all the time. The role of the scientist is to answer questions. I believe that the role of the artist is to ask questions. Sometimes my work appears as to be a model, but they often are not successful models, but failed models. And in their failure, they ask, provoke, and demand the questions of the viewer. And in this way, I think they are very useful to society in a way that they challenge our preconceptions of what is real or what we believe to be true. The role of the scientist, on the other hand, is to answer questions, and a successful scientific model will answer questions. Whereas, as I said, I believe that my works, which sometimes appear to be a scientific model, they have the cloak of the rational, actually ask questions and promote discourse and debate. I am kept awake at night by the idea of one of my mechanical systems failing, and I often toss and turn in night and actually solve a lot of problems in my half sleep about a mechanical system that may be flawed, and I have eureka moments when I wake up in the morning. I know how to solve something. I now have a much more extensive team, so some of those pressures are placed upon some of my team members rather than myself. But for a long time, I suffered from what I would call mechanics paranoia, where I would be tormented by the flaws within a system that I was designing. One big question I have is if is there somewhere in the universe where 20 tetrahedrons or 80 equilateral triangles that have formed 20 tetrahedrons will tessellate with themselves? Is there a condition in the universe where space and time are curved to a certain extent, where the tetrahedron forms a perfect icosahedron? I grew up in a house where the conversation around an object or around an idea was paramount. So that, and I've become very addicted to that practice, and why I continue to get such joy and pleasure from making sculpture is because I love to have a conversation around the object, the ambiguity, the breadth of interpretation, the fact that the meaning of an object is not owned by one person, and that anyone who looks upon an object will see something different. And I love that conceptual range within an object. So my father brought me up to become aware of my surroundings and to challenge and to question everything around me. And so that I owe a great deal to my parents in that regard.